Well, here I am again, Celtics fan, this time in a state of happiness, I guess. It was a whirlwind tonight, man. This game pretty much summed up the entire Celtics season. Bad out of the gate, down 17 or whatever it was. The turnovers were the big thing, just laziness, lazy turnovers, the same defense where, like, there's a couple possessions where it was Okogie has a cut play immediately when the play begins, dunks on Tristan Thompson, D'Lo's walking into threes, Towns is getting easy pick and pops, and it's like, oh, here we go again. And then the Celtics decide to turn it up and start bringing more defensive energy, and they've gotten burned for this a few times this season. The most recent example, I think, was against the Pelicans, where they get back into the game and you see they're like, oh my god, this is the team, this is what it's supposed to be, but then they lose because they're down too much. They managed to win this game. Even amongst that, they still blow like a 12-point lead with 3 minutes left or whatever. This Celtics season, my goodness. I mean, the win is the win. Jason Tatum went crazy and all that nice stuff, but what are they doing to me, man? I mean, it's just basketball at the end of it all. I don't want to be too dramatic, but like the amount of emotional investment that I've got in this team, I mean, it's been how many years now where I've watched almost every game? I mean, I didn't watch the Knicks game because I needed one day away from it all. I needed one emotional break, and then I was back in on this one, and I was just like, oh crap, why? Now, again, they get the win, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but like, oh, my goodness. Should be said, Chris Finch is running some interesting things with the Wolves, where it's like Towns up top and elbow action, and that's all very good stuff. But this is mainly about the Celtics, because people seem to enjoy when I just kind of blabber on about the Celtics and post-game things. Here's an interesting thing with this team. They have won 4 of their last 5 games. I know, don't get committed, but like, what else do you want me to do, man? What am I going to do? I can't give up. I just can't. I will not allow myself, even if I probably should. So, this game, Tatum going crazy, of course, was a big thing, and also just locking in a little bit more defensively. They blow out the Rockets. They blow out the Thunder. Shout out to Luke Cornett for being part of that whole thing. And then they also blow out the Hornets. They've lost to all the good teams they've faced lately. I mean, the Knicks, Knicks are a respectable team, and the Wolves are not as bad as their record because they've had injuries and stuff. The point being is, I think if there's going to be a turnaround with this Celtics season, I think it's going to have to happen on this road trip coming up. They've got Denver next, which can be the ultimate litmus test for where the Celtics team is right now. I mean, this is the type of game where in the past they would play well. Maybe they would still lose, but they would play well. And my evidence of that is whenever they would go to Golden State during the Warriors' run of being amazing, the Celtics would always play them well. And of course, they were the one loss the Warriors had at home in the 73 win season. Before the playoffs, of course, when LeBron became the best player ever. But then they got the Blazers, which that one's always difficult as well. The Laker game in LA, AD could be back at that point. We'll have to see. But the number one thing is just having that energy defensively right from the jump. That's the number one thing, because that's what got him back in this one. That and Tatum just went absolutely crazy. I do want to talk about Kemba some more. He ended up making back-to-back threes, just catch and shoots, really. I think the best thing for Kemba needs to be to like kind of pull him from the offense a little bit. Like, it's tough because if he's not handling the ball, then he doesn't really do anything. But I don't know, man. Maybe that's probably just too reactionary of me to say, like, take him out of the offense a little bit. But at this point, maybe the goal with Kemba should just be like, can you give us an efficient 16 points a game and stop trying to be like the 20-point scorer? Because the pull-up threes, I don't know, it's a fine line. Because you can't tell a guy to just not shoot a staple shot, right? Because then that's going to mess with him too much, and you're limiting his overall potential and whatever else. But I don't know what I'm saying. The point of these is that I blabber about the Celtics, but it was a wild game. My emotions were all over the place. It was really just this entire season captured into one 48 minutes, or technically 2 hours, whatever, thing of basketball. So there you go, man. I mean, look, if they get Fournier back and whatever else, then okay, we'll see. I don't want to get too invested. I mean, I don't know if there's really an avenue for this team actually like making the conference finals, but I don't know. I mean, there's crazy scenarios that happen all the time. I mean, getting there is, of course, the first step, and it would still be nice to get to round 2. You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know what this is. The Celtics, they won. Shout out to the T-Wolves, and I'm just kind of all over the place right now. I was not watching anything else. I know Zach LaVine went crazy, and the Bulls still lost. They have not been too great since the Vooch trade. I don't know the specific details as to why. I'm not going to act as if I've been watching every single game for them. I watched the first game against the Spurs. They got blown out. And since then, I've just been kind of, trying as I can. But it's just, there's so many teams, and you try to keep up on everybody, and it's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, the other one was the Knicks Grizzlies game, which I also didn't really see. Jaren Jackson is still not back, and it's getting kind of awkward. Now, I guess I saw a thing about an impending return. That was 5 days ago, so we'll have to see. I mean, should be said, his extension will be this offseason, and my guess is it's going to be another Jonathan Isaac type of contract where you basically just double the $9 million he's going to get paid next year, because I don't know what else you're supposed to do. As far as the Knicks and Grizzlies game specifically, again, I was all in on the Celtics game, so I don't know a damn thing that happened, but I saw RJ Barrett went off, so there you go, and RJ has continued to be really good. The other thing that happened tonight was the Pelicans beat the Sixers. Are we officially in like a little bit of worry mode for Philly? I mean, they did just kill my Celtics, because of course, why wouldn't they? I don't think it's time to worry with the Sixers. Ben has been a little more passive as a scorer, but I wouldn't freak out too much. The one thing I notice with the Sixers whenever I watch them is that Doc goes to these all-bench lineups, and sometimes it just isn't good at all. The one big example there was against the Jazz, where it was like, it was Thibault and Mike Scott and Dwight Howard and all these dudes, and then the Jazz, it's like Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson and Derek Favors, and it was actually a lottery team versus like a 45-win team. I was like, this is not going to work. So for what that means with Doc, I don't really know. And Philly is still right there with the Bucks and the Nets in the East. I think the Nets are the best team. And I mean, for what it's worth, the Hawks are like now in shouting distance of the Bucks after this recent win. Miami not setting the world on fire after having a really good run. I feel like with the Heat, it's mainly offense that's their thing. I mean, Dragic has not been healthy all season and also just hasn't been as good, and I feel like they are searching for that guy besides Jimmy who can just give them that north-south action. Also, they've just had a bad break with shooting. But yeah, that'll do it for whatever this is.